Hey guys! So for today's lesson video, we will be talking about muscles. So for those who are new here, please like, subscribe, and click the bell button to get notified every time I post a new video. So without further ado, let's get on with the lesson. Skeletal muscles are usually called voluntary muscles. Most skeletal muscles are attached to bones by bundles of collagen fibers known as tendons. The skeletal muscles work with your bones to produce the movement you make and gives your body power and strength. In most cases, a skeletal muscle is attached to one end of a bone. It stretches all the way across a joint and then attaches again to another bone. So this is an example of a skeletal muscle. As you can see, it is a bicep brachii and a palmaris longus. And as you can see in the illustration, there is an origin and an insertion. A skeletal muscle has two or more attachments. The origin is the attachment site that does not move during contractions. It is the immovable fixed end of a muscle that is connected to the bone, while the insertion is the attachment site that moves when the muscle contracts. The insertion is usually distal or further away from the body, while the origin is proximal or closer to the body relative to the insertion. So when you contract or flex your muscles, the insertion pulls toward the origin, which completes the movement. So for aponeurosis, it is a flat sheet or ribbon of tendon-like material that anchors a muscle or connects it with the part that the muscle moves. The primary function is to join muscles and the body parts as they act upon, whether to be bone or other muscles. They have a shiny, whitish, silvery color and are histologically similar to tendons and are very sparingly supplied with blood vessels and nerves. And next for our raft. It is the intersection or seam in a tissue or organ between two separate parts. It is an interdigitation of the tendinous ends of fibers of flat muscles, used with reference to the structure forming the fused ends of those two flat muscles. So as you can see in the illustration, it is the one marked with C. So now let's move on. Muscles whose fibers run parallel to the line of pull will bring a greater degree of movement compared to the muscle fibers who run obliquely, meaning against the movement of the muscle. So, muscles whose fibers run obliquely to the line of pull are referred to as pennate muscles, and they resemble a feather like structure. And for the pennate muscles, we have three types, namely unipennate, bipennate, and multipennate. So on the next slide, you will see what they look like. So first, for the unipennate muscles. They are the fibers arranged obliquely and inserting into a tendon only on one side, in the manner of a feather. So an example of a unipennate muscle is a digitorum longus. So as you can see that in the first illustration, the blue line is the tendon and the pink one is the muscle. So it is running obliquely against the movement of the muscle, as you can see in the right illustration, and it is only on one side of the tendon. All right, next. So I want you to look at the illustration for this one. It's called a bipennate muscle. So a bipennate muscle is the one which the tendon lies in the middle of the muscle. So as you can see, the blue line in the left illustration is the tendon and the pink ones are the muscles. So the muscle fibers pass to it from those two sides and creates a feather-like structure. And an example of a bipennate is a bicep brachii. So actually, these illustrations aren't exactly what the muscles look like. They are too perfect to be like that. So our muscles don't look exactly like it, but we use these illustrations to make it look easier and to have a simpler explanation. And lastly, for our oblique muscles, the multipennate muscle. It has fascicles that insert on multiple tendons tapering towards a common tendon. like multiple feathers converging on a central point. A common example is the deltoid muscle you can see on the right illustration. It is covered by the shoulder but has a single tendon that inserts on the deltoid tuberosity of the humerus. And for our skeletal muscle action, all movements are the result of coordinated muscle movements. That is why in most stroke patients, they cannot properly do the things they're used to because their muscle coordination has been affected. However, as future physical therapists, we must understand a muscle's action and study it individually. So, a muscle may work in four ways, either as a prime mover, antagonist, a synergist, or a fixator. So, a prime mover is the chief muscle or member of a chief group of muscles responsible for a particular movement. They create the normal range of movement in a joint by contracting. Prime movers are also referred to as agonists, since they are the muscles that are primarily responsible for generating the movement. As you can see, the agonist is the bicep. So when you contract it and you look at your arm, you see that muscle move. And then for our antagonist muscle, it is one muscle that contracts the other muscle and relaxes or lengthens. The muscle that is contracting is called the agonist, and the muscle that is relaxing or lengthening is called the antagonist. So, if the bicep is the agonist, then the tricep, which is relaxing and lengthening, as you can feel it if you try to do it, is the antagonist. A muscle that opposes the action of another is also called an antagonistic muscle. And next one, we have our fixator. So a fixator contracts isometrically to stabilize the prime mover so that it can act efficiently. So basically, it doesn't really produce movement, it doesn't really flexes, but its contraction increases the tone of the muscle and makes it easier for the prime mover to do its job. And lastly, we have the synergist. So, in many locations in the body, the prime mover muscle crosses several joints before it reaches a joint at which its main action takes place. So, it's more of like a stopover for the muscles. Like, it doesn't really go straight to the palm. There are several, from the shoulder to the palm, those muscles there have different other parts, and usually, if you don't have that synergist, you won't really get to the point to move your palm or your fingers because there will be certain unwanted movements. So it's more of like a fixator also, but this muscle passes through more areas to prevent unwanted movement in the intermediate joint. So that will be our lesson for today. I hope you had fun, and in some ways, I made it easier for you guys. So if you have any ideas or any suggestions or any comments, just please leave them down below in the comment section, or you can send me a private message through my social media accounts. If you think that you can help me improve my videos, or you think that you can give me more topics to do, just comment down below. So thank you very much for watching and see you on our next video.